Risking supply chain, she is our moderator. Dr. Kuldeep Sachdeva, President, Chief Medical Office, Mall Bio Diagnostic, Bangalore and Goa. So please be on the dais. Mr. Vikas Goyal, Head Supply Chain Management, Fortis Memorial Research Institute, Gurgaon. Mr. Girish Joshi, General Manager, India and South Asia, Medline Industries. Last but not the least, Mr. Sanjeev Gupta, Managing Director, Intrust Consultancy, IVD and Medical Device. Over to you, Jyoti ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, our esteemed panel members. I'm truly honored today to moderate this panel discussion on a very much needed and critical topic, that is de-risking supply chain. As we all are aware, the supply chain is the core and much needed system of the healthcare system, without which our healthcare cannot work. So COVID was pandemic. It was not only a health crisis, I will say. It was a stress test for our healthcare system, and which made us realize that how fragile and fragmented our healthcare system is. So thereafter, of course, we tried our best and did many steps to strengthen the system, did many activities, but of course, we still needs the system to be more systematic, coordinated, and make it more futuristic and strategic. So today, we are here to discuss this topic. So first of all, I would like to introduce our panel member, Dr. Kuldeep Sachdeva. He is President and CEO of Mall Bio Diagnostic, coming with 35 years of experience in public health. He was heading the Ministry of Health, the two major national health program, National TB Control Program and National AIDS Control Program. Next is Dr. Sanjeev Kumar, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Gupta. He is Managing Director, Intrust Consultancy, IVD and Medical Devices. Next, Mr. Girish Joshi. He is General Manager, Medline and South Africa Medline System. And Mr. Vikas Goyal, he is heading supply chain of Fortis. So I would like to start with Dr. Kuldeep Sachdeva. Since you are coming up with a great experience of public health, and of course, no one can better understand the nuances you must have gone through in the supply chain system of the various programs you have headed. So if you had to recommend one specific policy action to the government of India that would make the healthcare supply chain future-proof for the next 5 years, what would it be?
Thank you, Jyoti. As you said, my experience is more on the public health side, and where I handled the two programs at the national level. Procurement supply chain management was one part of it. Having said that, we had seen both the plus and the minus side of supply chain management in the program. Sometimes we were reported stockouts from the periphery, and many times things moved very smooth. Now coming back to the question which Jyoti is putting to me, what is that one intervention which you would like in the supply chain management? Pointing out one single intervention actually would be quite difficult, but if you want me to give one intervention, that would be putting the system in place, which is put a totally digital integrated solution into the supply chain management in place. We did have initially only the manual system. Then we went to the sort of an Excel-based system, which probably you were also managing.
Yeah.
And then we went into an integrated totally integrated digital system. And we have seen challenges and successes and failures with all the systems. Manual system, of course, you all know that many times people in the periphery will report stockouts, but when you look at your stores, you will have ample stocks within the store. So that was a major drawback of the system at the manual level, because there was no communication or transmission of reports from one end to the other side. When Jyoti and her team started with the Excel-based monitoring of the system, they used to get regular feedbacks from the states and districts and the peripheral things improved a bit. But the same problem which was there with the manual system still persisted, because there was no real-time information. All the information you were capturing is at a point of time. So there was no real-time information. When we moved to the integrated system, things improved a bit, but still the challenges were not over. Even though there is a real-time intervention, there is a person who is supposed to make it real-time. And that was a big challenge to how do you actually make it real-time in person. So when I talk of now integrated digital systems, the best one was, of course, the integrated system, where the main challenge we faced was that we couldn't make persons do the job in real time, and that's where the whole chain of suggestions will come forward, that training, capacity building and embracing change, somebody said that, is very important. So people are very reluctant to embrace change. So you have to train them very properly, make change management as process, show the benefits of the system. If you are not able to show the benefits of the system, they don't actually accept it as it is. Then again, I just joined in the previous discussion in the midway somewhere there, and we also noticed technological infrastructure. So your technological infrastructure has to be very strong, robust, and they should be able to handle the system. And there also we observed some changes, challenges when we implemented system initially, that you have to sometimes improve on technology as you encounter solutions. So again, a good thought has to go into that, which system to adopt, which technology to put in, and which infrastructure or which softwares to use, or what should be the load which you are anticipating. So everything has to be very pre-planned. So having said that, it's all in a process. At one time, we also did away with manual reporting. We said, no, nothing doing, we will are not going to accept manual reporting. And it's almost been more than 10 years, a decade now. And after, I think, 6, 7, 8 years, people started using that integrated system. So I'll say to the extent of 80-90%, it's now working well. It's still not what we would envisage it should have done, but that is the way forward. Yeah. Thank you.
Very rightly said, digitization and digital strengthening of digital infrastructure is most important requirement in supply chain, which can only meet our supply chain requirement till the last mile, I'll say. And VUCA, we are talking about the VUCA, so I feel that VUCA and supply chain is the synonym. Nothing is more volatile and fragile, which more than this supply chain healthcare, which we need to strengthen. So now coming to Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Gupta, he is since coming from the more of expertise in MDR and task force system. So how recent regulatory reforms as MDR, India joining GSTF Global Harmonization Task Force is beneficial for India medtech industry? How this can be leveraged by MSMEs to explore the global market opportunity? So please give your insights on it.
Thank you, Jyoti. I'll come to the question after a few comments. This morning when I got up, it was really a VUCA moment for me because I got up at 3:15. I wasn't sure whether I'll sleep here or what is going to be. Somehow I managed that VUCA period to be over. I was here. And I've been hearing several people since morning. People have given reference of COVID. People have also given reference of the post-COVID. I want to share something very interesting for you. Many of you may believe that during COVID time we did a lot of innovations. Let me tell you, We had zero innovation during COVID time, which worked for COVID. If anybody has a doubt, want to challenge me, can stand up and challenge me. I will tell you how. We believe that we innovated test in India. We did not. We just built up the assembly capacity in India. That's not innovation. Same goes for PPEs. We think we innovated something, neither the textile nor the machine. Zero. We just innovated our capacity to produce. That's what is the reality. Let's not live in a world which is whims and fancies of the people. I'm very supportive of Prime Minister Modi, but certain realities will give us right path. You want to talk about rapid antigen test? We innovated nothing in rapid antigen test. Till today, India doesn't have a monoclonal antibody pair for COVID antigen detection. Every single nanogram is imported from China. That's a fact. But yes, what we did, our industry was still very, very resilient. I will give you some facts you may not know. COVID time, CRP testing was done enormously. Let me tell all of you that 40% of the CRP is produced in India, exported to the world, and it comes back as a product in India. You may not know it. Same way the tumor markers like 15-3, 19-9 and other tumor markers, they're manufactured in India. 50% tumor markers are made in India. It goes out and comes back as a product. So what we are doing, we are very good in having a resilient manufacturing system to repack and bring it to the market. That's a reality of COVID time. Some people might say we innovated ventilators. Sorry, we did not, because companies open up and put their design into as open source. We just assembled it. There was no innovation done. So that's what the clarity I want to give it to you. But coming back to de-risking the supply chain, right? It has a lot of meanings for different people. Now I tell you that one of the best thing happened in the COVID time was ministries came together and they worked in an emergency atmosphere where even the regulation was put on a back burner. If the regulation was not put on the back burner, we would not have many things into what was there, right? That was one of the biggest advantage we had during COVID. But what has happened after COVID? Let me tell you, ambiguity has increased, the complexity has increased, unpredictability has increased, and we are into a more serious VUCA man-made problem than the natural problem. We wanted to make Mpox a pandemic, knowing very well that Mpox is not going to be pandemic. So, our thought process got stuck, and today we are talking about, are we prepared for the next pandemic? Pandemics don't come like this. Pandemics come because of specific reasons, right? So what we are going to de-risk? The de-risk has come into still a campaign which is called Atmanirbhar campaign. So what's happening, I'll tell you, that for this, India started a very good platform wherein it is supporting the point of regulation to the innovators right with their thought process. Earlier, it was not there. CDSCO has a room in the CDSCO headquarters, which they say PRO office. But it's not PRO, it's a harassment office. Okay? What I want to tell you is, what is the first harassment? You go there, they say, Acha, what is your application number? You suddenly won't remember it. If you manage to tell the application number, they say, when was it submitted? You may not remember it. Then even if you manage to tell that, or did you get any query? What are you sitting for? You should know everything because this is given to you in advance. Increase in complexity. But it doesn't mean the regulator is not doing good. So what today regulator is doing in India, Swatiji, is it is talking to innovators face to face. But what is innovator doing? Okay? Regulators started talking to innovator. Now innovators started teaching regulator. I have done innovation. My product should have been registered yesterday, not today. So complexity is increasing, ambiguity is increasing because people are not investing time in understanding what is required today. That is where I would say that our regulation is very good. We becoming a member of GHTF brings no tangible immediate benefit to the country. It only adds a little value in our licensing process. That's the only advantage we get. But the real disruption or de-risking would be when a manufacturing license given by CDSCO is as respected in US FDA as US FDA approval is respected in India. We have a long way to go. All stakeholders have to walk hand in hand, then the real joining the GHTF will help. I hope I have given you a larger picture of everything.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, very rightly said that innovation should not be compromised with the quality and regulations. Ultimately, we have to deal with the patients. So that is the paramount importance. So I think you may like to cover how it can be leveraged by MSME to explore the global market opportunity if you are following this MDR and other regulations.
Some very learned person said, if you want to be into medical device domain, don't be an MSME. The reason was very clear. If you want to go to US FDA today, the per product in a simple 510K clearance cost you 25,000 US dollars. Minimum 3 establishments have to be registered. Each establishment costs you $7,000 a year. That means you are looking at 25 plus 25 almost. $50,000 per product cost, initial cost, and then at least $25,000 subsequent years, right? MSMEs perhaps cannot afford it. So we should be very clear in selecting a product line which serves in India and join hands together if they can to come out with a product which they can back up with these kinds of investments. And testing and everything is very, very expensive. So we MSMEs have to select the right product where they can keep the initial costs low. And there's one more challenge, whether it's innovator or MSME. You can't sustain anything with one product. We have got to be very, very careful.
There should be
there's nothing today in this world which is a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So I understand MSMEs and MSME exemption will not work much in the global market as per India government at least given these exemptions, MSME and startup exemption. But still we should be very thoughtful in choosing our product line and going for this and if we are planning for the global market. Thank you so much for the insightful. And now, Mr. Girish Joshi, having your experience in the pharmacy background and operational of the various equipments you have managed. So how global MNCs are approaching China plus one to do risk supply chain? How global MNCs can support India's MSMEs to scale up further?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, let me thank moderator for getting me onto this panel discussion. Secondly, thanks to Manish ji and PhD Chamber for getting me involved into this discussion. To address the question which has been posed, as a global multinational company, we were always looking for multiple sourcing options across the world. And for a simplest product, like if I were to give some example, a simplest product like an examination glove used in a hospital setup, we source it from about 40 odd manufacturers around the world. So primarily de-risking has been part of our strategy always, and that is how we help multiple supply partners to come up to our speed because our volumes are phenomenal. For this one particular product, we ship around 40,000 containers a year. And that's the kind of volume. So we definitely need to have multiple supply partners.
Supply base, we have to increase.
I think we have built our strategy in terms of China plus one, but that plus one is multiples for us. We are not dependent only on one country plus China. So we are looking at developing supplier base in ASEAN. India obviously is another big story because our volumes of export from India to global market is more than $100 million. And it starts with very basic product, but we have a very large volume. Simplest product, if I were to tell you, could be a cotton ball. We ship about 8 containers a month. Another example could be alcohol swab, a very simple product, smallest product, right? We ship about 8 to 10 containers a month. ECG electrode. India is one of the finest manufacturing capacity of ECG electrodes around the world. So we need to tap on specific products where we work with people who have excellence in their process and systems, and we work with them. And that is how we bring them up to speed to reach to the global market. Because then they are championing the cause. They know where to bring in the process excellence. And that's how we work with supply partners to focus on specific product line where we can partner and help them to take to the global level. So our de-risking is China plus one plus ... So we are looking at not only one country as a China plus one, but we are looking at developing a supply base around many
the
nations than just one. Thank you.
So further, the question I asked, I may like to add to you. So what initiatives are required to achieve the medical device regulation compliance by stakeholders in India? If you can put some insights on it.
I think in my view, we talk about all international regulation when it comes to products in India. We talk about CE marking, we talk about US FDA, but we don't talk about our own regulations and standards. I think as a Indian healthcare industry, we first need to start respecting our own standards. Many stakeholders in the industry themselves are not aware that there are product standards defined by BIS, there are product standards defined by the regulatory bodies, that these are the products, these are the standards product must have. But we don't look at them. Probably we need to start respecting ourselves. If we don't respect our own standards, nobody in the world is going to look at our standards. Then it is we always like US FDA and CE as a reference point, and Indian standard would not get a meaningful respect. So I think that needs to start happening. Second, first is awareness of those standards. Second is practical implementation of them. When we look at hospital and healthcare systems, because of lack of awareness, hospitals are not aware, the stakeholders are not aware what standards are or what regulations are. So as an industry, instead of trying to expect everything from government, I think it is also our job as an industry to create that awareness. One of the veterans sitting in our audience today, Jory sir, he has been doing a lot of sessions for industry to create awareness on these standards. So and he has been kind enough, thank you sir, to post all your presentations in the public domain, which hospitals have now started referring to. Hey, this probably everybody may not be able to attend those sessions, but at least people are able to look at it, refer to it whenever they get time. We also refer that why don't you look at these presentations available online. This is the information. There is a FAQ document available from CDSCO. So at least create some level of awareness among the stakeholders. So as an industry, I think we have a much larger role to play because regulators have their own limitation. Authorities will always have a limitation. But if we as the stakeholders in the industry can take this message down to the stakeholders, that would help uplift the quality standards in the country. That's my view.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, it's a collaborative effort. It cannot be done alone. And creating awareness and capacity building about our regulation and compliance is, I think, one of the key area which still needs to be looked into it. Now coming to Mr. Vikas Goyal, who is heading the supply chain management of Fortis Hospital. So Fortis, everyone knows, is a chain of hospital, and you must be going through the lots of supply chain disruptions. And so having your large experience of the hospital sector, I would like to, maybe we would like to understand what role can large hospital chain like hospital play in driving demand aggregation and long-term purchase agreements to reduce supply chain volatility for medtech products, and how large hospitals do supplier procurement de-risking beyond price. So some of the best practices which you want to share.
So if we see from Fortis, so Fortis is a chain of hospitals having a national presence, and we have around 28 hospitals. And if we see in a VUCA in a supply chain, so it's not from the pre-COVID, post-COVID or during the COVID, it's always exist.
Yeah.
Because in a supply chain, whenever the patient come in the hospital, we have to treat. We can't hold it. Like in automobiles, we can give the waiting time of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But in a hospital, we have to treat it, we have to stabilize and then forward it to for the next course of treatment over there. So there is a huge pressure on the supply chain for the hospitals. Whatever the stock is required, that has to be arranged, available, or last mile requirement has to be fulfilled from the hospital sides. So just considering that aspects, to what all activities we are doing to make it our supply chain efficient, transparent, regular, and scalable. So first is we have a long-term partnership. So we are not doing a single purchase or single procurement from the suppliers. We do the long-term partnership. engagement for the 3 years, 5 years, 1 year as per the capability of the manufacturers, and then we do the long-term relationship with that. Second is we are going for the VMI managed inventory, so that there should be a partnership beyond the just the supply. So the vendor can manage the critical items in our hospitals, which are very cost effective or very selective or nature in use over there. They can manage the inventories in the hospitals, and from procurement to pay, we can go for the model for use to pay model over there. That's we have a process for the VMI inventory over there. Third is we have a pre-approved supplier list, because we have a geographical distributed hospitals over there. So we have a approved supplier list. So any hospitals can refer the same and buy the product from the approved suppliers as per the approved list over there. Next is we are going for the multiple suppliers. We are not working with the one supplier. For the each category of items, you have a multiple suppliers, and we prefer for the local suppliers as well. Because as a corporate hospitals, we have a responsibility for the ESG. And not only for the hospitals, the supplier has to be compliant for the ESG also, like they have to use the green fuels, electric vehicles, they have to be using the less than 18 years manpower in their services over there, and they have to be compliant with all the state drug authorities over there. That's why we are preferring the local suppliers to supplies to our hospitals over there. Third is we have a centralized procurement system and decentralized distribution system, so that it makes the efficiency and effectiveness for the supplies and the single standard rate contract and standard items going across the hospitals. Now, secondly, we are doing the partnership with the manufacturers and suppliers also. A lot of companies are doing a research, development, and making the product as per the Indian standards and requirement. Because if we see a lot of stents, balloons and the implants, which is very good in USA or Europe, but they are not fit for the Indian peoples or the Indian systems over there. So they are designing to our doctors, clinical team, doing the partnership with them, making the products in our hospitals, doing the testing evaluation, and then we do the long-term partnership to use the same over there. So the most recent case is the robotics. So we have 2-3 companies who are providing the robotic services to us, and the consumables also, which is developed in-house by the Fortis team along with their R&D team over there. Next is we are shifting from transactional procurement to the modern procurement. That is a collaboration with the suppliers. That is mutual for the industries as well as for the Fortis hospitals.
Thanks for the input. So a few of the major things which is being highlighted by Mr. Vikash is increasing the supplier base, long-term agreement, going towards a modern procurement, rate contract, fixing the rate, some reliability on the local suppliers. So definitely the big hospitals or even a small hospital needs to do all these things to manage the much critical requirement and consumables and equipment for the need of the patient. So now I would like to discuss one questions from all of you members. So I'll start with Dr. Sachdeva. So what national level task force or institutional mechanism is needed to continuously monitor and de-risk the Indian medtech supply chain ecosystem? So you can give your view from the point of view of policy or as per your experience. So national level task force or strengthening is needed.
So first I'll differentiate that when you were asking a question to me, I'm referring to the healthcare system of the country. So I'm not referring to the healthcare system of an organization, mine, yours,
Yeah, that is the reason
or a hospital. Okay, so when you look at the healthcare system of the country, you have to first see who are the stakeholders who will actually be are important for you. So we are referring to medical devices, so you have two important stakeholders, which is Central Drug Standards and Control Organization, and other is the Department of Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
You refer to sort of public supply chain management, and other the Gati Shakti program also
Gati
becomes
Shakti, yeah, one of the
important stakeholders.
major initiative by government.
Is there an institutional mechanism already existing? I think there is already a task force on or a high-powered group on medical devices by Department of Pharmaceuticals. Does pharmaceutical department has more say in supply chain management, or is it CDSCO, or is it the other departments? My personal feeling is CDSCO will limit itself to regulations, licensing, etc. Pharmaceutical to some extent will be concerned about supply chain management also, because they will. Gati Shakti is a separate, is an interministerial, so a lot of Probably the nodal ministry is Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So for us, the best bet would be the Department of Pharmaceuticals. So maybe we can have a sub-task force under the existing mechanism and then give them certain tasks, how to de-risk and how to go forward. So that is the way I think where you can get stakeholders from logistics sector, you can get experts, you can get academia, you can get industry officials, get people from CDSU on board, the Department of Pharmaceuticals on board, and then come out with certain suggestions. Also that you can also have an operational framework below that task force, that they monitor the operational framework, which I alluded to earlier, that you have a digital infrastructure. So somehow you also manage how the supply chains are being managed in the country, how the Gati Shakti program is performing, are they able to actually leverage on those platforms, is deliveries on time, are supplies being reaching to various places on time, etc., etc. And the general dictum within, when I worked with the government was that if you monitor something, it gets done. If you don't monitor, it doesn't get done. So M&E remains, monitoring remains a very important tool to see that it gets done. So the best answer to me is have a task force under the existing mechanism under Department of Pharmaceuticals, have an operative structure or a secretariat under that, and then take it forward.
Yeah, so having a sub-task force with the collaboration from all the stakeholders, I think is one of the area where, Dr. Sanjeev Gupta, your inputs on this.
I think that's a very good point made by Dr. Sachdeva. I just want to highlight for everyone's benefit what government has been doing for de-risking in medtech segment. I think there are a couple of good decisions taken in last 3 years. One is the PRIP scheme, bringing in a lot of money, which helps industry, academia both. I know that rolling it out has been a challenge, but now agency has been approved and agency has been started working on those projects. Another good thing which has happened is that ICMR has taken a lead role as far as the health technology is concerned. I'll tell you one single achievement which has happened in last 3 years. India did not have the phase 1 trials in India. In last 3 years, ICMR has established 70 phase 1 trial centers across the country. Now, if you have a molecule, whether it's a vaccine, whether it's a large molecule, whether it's a small molecule, whether you have a medical device, whether you have a diagnostic, take it to ICMR, they will make sure in how many ways. If you have an IP, they are helping you in patents at their cost. If you want to be evaluated, they are evaluating it at their cost, irrespective whether you're coming from industry or you're coming from academia. So the money is being spent on getting a lot of things into India, for India, so that we can de-risk a lot of things in near future. So much so that different departments are collaborating. For example, there is all government procurements happen through national programs. For any product to enter into national programs, it has to undergo through a health technology assessment. Now, health technology assessment is run by Department of Health Research in Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Now, every month, ICMR is talking to at least 25 to 30 innovators, wherein innovators are coming with different life stages of their innovations. Something is in a proof of concept, something has gone into a test batch, something has gone into manufacturing this thing, something has been selling. So they bring stakeholders together to take them from this stage to next stage. And it's working wonderfully. In last 2 years, at least 600 applications have been entertained. At least 200 crores have been spent on all this, and money is going to be flowing like anything. So I suggest that all of you should encourage innovators, existing manufacturers, even the importers, to go and make use of this. This is going to work wonderfully.
Great. So you mean to say that Government of India is also funding a lot in this sector?
Yes,
and
I forgot to add one thing, Swati ji.
Yeah.
People used to feel that regulation is becoming very complex. In these meetings, 2 senior regulators sit and talk to the people one-to-one and give them solutions right there.
So,
That's the beauty of it now.
so that is, I think, one of the big initiative by Government of India, that they are creating awareness about the regulations and also providing fund. So ultimately, all these process and actions taken by government will lead to the de-risking in supply chain. So inputs from Mr. Vikash Goel.
So, see, as a from point of the user, like we are the healthcare providers for the society over there. So we see from the what we required from the government and industries, like we have a NPPA who is controlling the pricing for the stents, implants, etc. We have a CDSOCO that is controlling and giving the approvals for the drugs, etc. We have a BIS, ISI, AGMARK, different acts over there, which is giving the standardization and standard mark after their evaluation of these products over there. But we don't have any national pharmaceutical or metric supply chain authority in India, so that who can regulate the supplies across the tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 cities for the Indian people over there. Because in a metropolitan cities, we get everything within 24 hours, 48 hours. Supplies are very good. Manufacturers, distributors getting a potential they can do. But we have a lot of hospitals in tier 2 and tier 3 cities where there is a shortage, scarcity. We have to pile up the stocks on a higher cost over there. That is goes for the wastages, expiry, because we are using a lot of shelf life products in that hospitals. So that is creating a problem and increasing the cost of providing the services at that area also. So this National Pharmaceutical or Metric Authority can do a lot of things for the healthcare of the Indian people. First is they make a grid, like storage house for the critical items, like the National List of Essential Medications or critical equipments, and then do the distribution to all the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of the hospitals across the government as well as for the private place over there. Next is do the testing and evaluation, like online evaluation of the manufacturers, what they are producing. Like we have a lot of MSME, small scales industries coming over there. So make a regulations, what the government have regulations, they have to adopt the same, follow the same and deliver the same standards in their products across the time and always over there. That is the need for the NR over there. Second, to increase the production, besides giving the land on free, electricity free, that is a common thing over there. They can build the production linked incentives. They have to produce that much, they will get that much of rebate. That will reduce the shortage of the materials across the India, as well as the excess material we can export to the other countries also over there. Secondly, this authority can make a SOPs, policies, quality guidelines, so that everyone can adhere from good manufacturing practices, good distribution practices, as well as for the good logistics practices across these materials for the supplies over there. Third, we have a very important IPC, like Indian Pharmacopoeia Commissions, who is making a monographs of the drugs and consumables. Under that, we have a 2 program, this is PVPI and MVPI, who's looking after the adverse drug reactions and malfunctioning of the equipments over there. That we have to strengthen, and that has to be linked with all the government and private hospitals over there. And whenever they see any fault, any adverse reactions, or any ADR related concern over there, that has to be reported, highlighted and shared with all the hospitals on a single platform, so that they can take proactively action and stop the usage of that material in the hospital. And last, all these agencies has to be worked together for the common goal to make the healthier the human people, the Indian peoples over there. And we have a globally, we say, we want to make India as the pharmacy of the world and lifeline of the nation. That only we can achieve this statement.
Thanks, rightly said. I think your points reminded me also many things. Of course, Indian government at their level, corporate and hospitals, everybody is working at their level, their supply chain management system. They have their own SOPs, their own warehouse. But I think everybody working in silos. So maybe this is one of the, I think, good suggestions, that we should have one supply chain, national level supply chain stock status kind of thing, like Gati Shakti is for some other purpose. In a similar fashion, something where at the national level we can visibility of the stock status for the public program also and for the corporate and private sector also. I think this is one of the...
That is also important, because in India the health is a state subject.
Yes.
So national authority at national level consolidation is very much important to spread equitable healthcare to all the peoples of the India.
So I think Manish ji can note this, one of the major outcome that is being suggested by the panel, that something like national level stock status or digital system can be. So now Mr. Gurish Joshi, last would like to take your inputs on the same.
I think within Indian government system, things have definitely improved what we are seeing from a medtech medical device perspective. One of the first step which Department of Pharmaceutical has done is that they have identified list of about 300 most commonly imported items. And the production link scheme was primarily targeted to replace that import dependency on some of those commonly used equipments more as an import substitution mechanism. I think that list will get expanded over a period of time. The way NPPA's scope has been expanded across all the pharmaceutical, I think in coming time that will be expanded to more and more number of medical devices, and that will strengthen the local manufacturing of many medical device products, and that is where we are seeing the setting up of multiple medical device parks coming up, government setting up a support system in terms of laboratories for testing of medical devices coming up, and they are getting notified, accredited. So I think efforts are on across. We just need to have that one common sink, which is the common goal of better healthcare for our Indian patient as a common point, which will help all the stakeholders to move along together. That will be helpful.
One last suggestion you want to give concerning the project and program you are saying that you're already on.
Yeah.
So what is missing? What do you think should be added, or one suggestion for?
The first phase is already started with 300 medical capital equipment devices or technologies. Next step will be expanding that scope to more and more medical devices and make it more inclusive. Because if you look at number of medical devices used in a hospital, they could be in thousands, not just few hundred. So in a short span of time, probably that list needs to be more and more inclusive, and then start looking at building the supply chain capability within the country.
Of course, then you'll be needing more resources and a better supply chain system.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. So since now we have discussed, now the questions open from the audience, if anyone wants to. Any questions you want to ask from the panel members are? So I think we can close. I would like to.
Just one thing I would like also take, because a lot of government peoples and private peoples are over here. So I think in a supply chain, we are more focusing on L1. We have to buy from L1. So I think we should move from L1.
Most debatable.
So we have to see the quality, availability, other parameters, the cost on the research and development, the manufacturers and implemented over there. That also has to be considered, just going on with the L1.
No, you rightly said L1 should not be the criteria, and I'm in 100% in favor of that. I think Dr. Sachdeva would like to add to it.
I just wanted to say.
So we have QCBS method also. Quality, we give more weightage to the quality.
People in private always.
Work only L1 only. Q is L1, just right.
We have QBS also, only quality-based selection.
So when you say diversification of sources, most, even in government organizations now, they are going for L1 and L2, they are splitting orders. It's become quite common.
Especially in, I think,
We
this
have done that
goods
about
procurement.
3 decades
it is
ago
how.
with medical gases. We do that for lot many critical drugs. And in private sector, of course, L1 is not always.
Thank you so much. I would sincerely like to thank our esteemed panel members for such a engaging and thought-provoking discussion, and which is summing up with the thought that it is not the de-risking supply chain is not a silos effect, it is a collaborative effect, and everybody have to come forward and work towards it to make our healthcare system more robust and strengthened. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And last, I would like to thank Manish ji and our Healthcare Continuum 9-Worm Publishing for organizing this event and giving us an opportunity to discuss on this critical topic. Thank you so much, sir.
I just want to share with all of you that if you get an opportunity, you must visit the Goa plant of Malbio. They have created a capacity which will be unutilized for next 10 years. They have created so much of capacity. It's so beautiful. You know, there is a general instrument called lyophilizer. There is a corridor of lyophilizers, 30 plus lyophilizers. That is a kind of market disruption they want to do globally and produce so much that they can capture bigger markets.
Thank you so much, everybody. Let's stand up for a picture. So for this now I would like to call Mr. Anil Johri and Mr. Vishal Khanna ji for the felicitation of our esteemed panelist. Ms. Jyoti Singh. Dr. Kuldeep Sachdeva. Mr. Vishal Goyal, Mr. Vikas Goyal, I'm sorry, Mr. Vikas Goyal. Mr. Girish Joshi. Mr. Sanjeev Gupta. Thank you all the panelists. So through this session we got to know how essential supply chain strengthening is